The wedding night betrayal. The message that shattered everything. The champagne glass slipped from Maya's hand, shattering against the marble floor of the bridal suite like her world was about to shatter in the next 30 seconds. She stared at her phone, her wedding dress still pristine white, her veil still pinned perfectly in her dark hair, makeup flawless despite the tears that were about to ruin everything. The message on the screen burned into her retinas, each word a knife twisting deeper into her chest. He's been sleeping with your sister for 6 months. The baby isn't yours to celebrate, it's his. I thought you deserved to know before you say, I do. Check the cloud folder. Password, Truth 2024. I'm sorry. A friend. Maya's hands trembled as she typed the password into the cloud link. Her breath came in short, painful gasps. This had to be a cruel joke. Some twisted person trying to ruin the happiest day of her life. Marcus loved her. They'd been together for 4 years. He'd proposed on a beach in Santorini at sunset. He'd cried when he slid the ring onto her finger. And her sister, Vanessa? They'd been best friends since childhood. Vanessa was her maid of honor, standing just outside this door right now, probably adjusting her coral bridesmaid dress, checking her lipstick, getting ready to walk down the aisle ahead of Maya. The folder opened. Maya's knees buckled. The evidence she wished didn't exist. Photographs. Dozens of them. Time-stamped, dated, impossible to deny. Marcus and Vanessa tangled in sheets Maya recognized, the luxury hotel suite from the business trip Marcus took to Chicago 3 months ago. Vanessa's hand on Marcus's chest, his lips on her neck, both of them laughing in a way that spoke of intimacy, of inside jokes, of a relationship that went far deeper than a drunken mistake. Text message screenshots. Hundreds of them. Marcus, I can't wait to touch you again. This pretending is killing me. Vanessa, 2 more months. After the wedding, we'll figure it out. She'll be devastated, but we can't keep lying. Marcus, the baby changes everything. We have to tell her. Vanessa, not yet. Let her have her wedding. Then we'll break the news together. Maya's vision blurred. The baby. Vanessa had announced her pregnancy 5 weeks ago at their family dinner. Everyone had celebrated. Mom had cried with joy. Dad had raised a toast. And Maya, God, Maya had hugged her sister so tightly, telling her how happy she was, how excited to be an aunt. The father was someone from work, Vanessa had said, blushing, claiming it was too new to introduce him yet. The father was Marcus. Maya scrolled through more messages, each one worse than the last. Plans to let Maya down easy after the honeymoon. Discussions about how they'd split Marcus and Maya's shared assets. Vanessa joking about how she'd always been better at keeping Marcus satisfied than Maya ever was. The cruelest message was from 2 weeks ago. Marcus, do you think she suspects? Vanessa, Maya? Please. She's so in love with you she can't see straight. She's the easiest person in the world to lie to. Always has been. The knock at the door. Maya? Honey, it's almost time. Her mother's voice rang through the door, bright and excited. The ceremony starts in 20 minutes. Are you ready? Maya stared at her reflection in the full-length mirror. The dress had cost $8,000. The venue downstairs was filled with 200 guests. The flowers alone had been $15,000. Marcus's family was here. Her family was here. Everyone she'd ever loved was sitting in those chairs, waiting to watch her marry the man who'd been betraying her for half a year with her own sister. The rational part of her brain screamed at her to open the door, to cancel everything, to expose them both right now in front of everyone. But another part of her brain, the part that had survived a childhood of always being second to Vanessa, always being the nice sister while Vanessa was the beautiful one, that part whispered something different. Don't react. Think. Plan. Maya wiped her eyes carefully, preserving her makeup. She took 3 deep breaths. She downloaded every single file from that cloud folder onto her phone, then onto a backup drive she kept in her purse. Evidence. She'd need evidence for what came next. I'm ready, Mom, Maya called out, her voice steady in a way that surprised her. Just fixing my lipstick. I'll be right out. She opened the door to find her mother beaming, eyes already teary with joy. Behind her stood Vanessa, radiant in coral silk, one hand resting protectively on her still flat stomach, a smile on her face that Maya now recognized as false. You look perfect, Vanessa said, stepping forward to adjust Maya's veil. Her touch made Maya's skin crawl, but she didn't flinch. Marcus is going to lose his mind when he sees you. He's already lost his mind, Maya thought. And so have you. But you don't know what's coming. I'm so lucky to have you as my sister, Maya said, meeting Vanessa's eyes directly. You've always been there for me. Always. For just a moment, something flickered in Vanessa's expression. Guilt? Doubt? It vanished as quickly as it appeared. Always, Vanessa echoed, squeezing Maya's hand. Liar. Walking toward the lie. The music began. That traditional wedding march that was supposed to make brides cry with happiness. Maya's father appeared at her side, offering his arm, his eyes wet with emotion. I'm so proud of you, sweetheart, he whispered. Marcus is a good man. You're going to be so happy. Maya linked her arm through his, the weight of her bouquet heavy in her other hand. White roses and peonies. Marcus had insisted on peonies because Maya loved them. Or so he'd said. Now she wondered if Vanessa had suggested it, laughing privately about the manipulation. The doors opened. 200 faces turned toward her. Smiling. Crying. Cameras flashing. Her aunt dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. Marcus's mother pressing her hand to her heart. And there, at the end of the aisle, stood Marcus. He looked devastatingly handsome in his tailored black tuxedo, his dark hair perfectly styled, his blue eyes locked on Maya with what anyone else would call adoration. She knew those eyes. She'd looked into them 1,000 times, believed every word that came from his lips, trusted him with her whole heart. He was crying now, overcome with emotion as she walked toward him. Beside him stood his best man, Jason, Marcus's brother, looking uncomfortable in his tux, shifting his weight from foot to foot. Maya had always liked Jason. He'd been kind to her, welcoming her into the family without reservation. She passed Vanessa, standing in her place of honor, clutching her own bouquet, smiling so widely. Their eyes met for a fraction of a second. Vanessa winked. Maya's grip on her father's arm tightened, but she kept walking, kept smiling, kept breathing. When they reached the altar, her father kissed her cheek and placed her hand in Marcus's. Marcus's palm was warm, slightly sweaty. Nervous groom energy, everyone would think. He leaned close, whispering so only she could hear. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. I'm the luckiest man alive. Maya smiled at him. Really smiled. Because now she knew something he didn't. She knew exactly what she was going to do. The vows that became weapons. The officiant began speaking, but Maya barely heard the words. Her mind was racing, calculating, planning 3 steps ahead the way she'd learned to do growing up in Vanessa's shadow. She couldn't cancel the wedding. That would give them sympathy. Poor Marcus, left at the altar. Poor Vanessa, her sister's public breakdown ruining everything. They'd spin it. They'd make her look crazy, unstable, jealous. No. She needed something better. Something that would destroy them both in a way they'd never recover from. Marcus, the officiant was saying, do you take Maya to be your lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better or worse, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, until death do you part? Marcus squeezed her hands, his voice strong and clear. I do. Liar. Maya, the officiant turned to her, do you take Marcus to be your lawfully wedded husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better or worse, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, until death do you part? This was the moment. 200 people holding their breath. Marcus looking at her with those beautiful lying eyes. Vanessa watching from just feet away, probably calculating how long she'd have to pretend to support this marriage before revealing her pregnancy's true paternity. Maya smiled. I do. A collective exhale of relief and joy rippled through the audience. But Maya wasn't done. Actually, she said, her voice cutting through the beginning of the officiant's next words, before we continue, there's something I need to say. Marcus's smile faltered. Maya? There's a tradition, Maya continued, her voice carrying to every corner of the room, of speaking now or forever holding your peace. Well, I'd like to speak now. Confused murmurs rippled through the crowd. The officiant looked uncertain. Vanessa's face had gone pale. Maya, what are you doing? Marcus whispered urgently. She turned to face their guests, still holding Marcus's hand so he couldn't escape. I received some information today. About 25 minutes ago, actually, right before I walked down this aisle. Information that I think everyone here deserves to know, especially since you've all traveled so far and spent so much money to celebrate with us. Maya, Marcus tried to pull his hand away. She held on tighter. Someone sent me evidence, Maya said clearly, that my fiancé and my sister have been having an affair for 6 months. That the baby my sister is carrying belongs to Marcus. The silence that followed was absolute. Nuclear. Then chaos. The explosion. Marcus's face drained of all color. That's insane, Maya, you're not serious. Would you like me to show everyone the photos? Maya pulled her phone from where she'd tucked it into her bouquet. I have dozens. Very explicit ones. Time-stamped. Including several from the Chicago trip you took for work in September. Vanessa made a sound like a wounded animal. Maya, please. Please what? Maya turned to her sister, her voice still eerily calm. Please don't tell everyone the truth. Please let you keep pretending. Please let you stand there in your bridesmaid dress, pregnant with my fiancé's baby, watching me marry him, and say nothing. Their mother rose from her seat, her face stricken. This can't be true. Vanessa? Marcus? Neither of them spoke. Guilt was written across both their faces in letters 10 feet tall. Jason, Marcus's brother, stepped forward. Marcus. Tell me she's wrong. Marcus opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. No words came out. The text messages are even better, Maya continued conversationally, scrolling through her phone. Should I read some of them? There's one where Vanessa calls me the easiest person in the world to lie to. There's another where Marcus discusses how to split our shared assets after he leaves me. Oh, and this one's my favorite, where they debate whether to tell me the truth before or after the honeymoon. Vanessa voted for after. Didn't want to ruin her maid of honor moment. Vanessa burst into tears. Real ones, this time. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, we didn't mean for it to happen. You didn't mean for it to happen? Maya's voice finally broke with emotion. For 6 months? Hundreds of text messages? A baby? You didn't mean for any of that to happen? Their father stood now, his face purple with rage. Vanessa Marie, is this true? Vanessa sobbed harder, unable to speak. Marcus found his voice, desperate now. Maya, please, can we talk about this privately? Not here, not like this. Not like this. Maya laughed, and it was not a pleasant sound. You mean not in front of everyone? Not publicly humiliated? That's funny, Marcus, because you were apparently fine humiliating me privately for half a year. You were fine planning my humiliation for after the honeymoon. But now that I'm in control of when and how the truth comes out, suddenly you want privacy. She turned back to the crowd, most of whom were on their feet now, some crying, some angry, some filming on their phones. I'm not going to marry him, Maya announced. Obviously. And I'm not going to quietly disappear and let them have their happy ending while I nurse my broken heart in private. No. I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of people they are. She yanked off her engagement ring and threw it at Marcus's feet. It bounced off his shoe and skittered across the floor. Then she turned to Vanessa, stepping so close their faces were inches apart. You wanted him? Maya said softly, just for her sister's ears. You can have him. But I promise you, Vanessa, I will make you regret this every single day for the rest of your life. Both of you. You think you know me? You think I'm the easy sister? The nice one? The one who just accepts things? You're about to find out how wrong you are. She stepped back, addressed the room one final time. Thank you all for coming. There won't be a wedding today, obviously. But please, stay for the reception. Eat the food. Drink the champagne. It's all paid for. And feel free to share this story with absolutely everyone you know. I want the world to understand exactly who Marcus Thorne and Vanessa Rodriguez really are. Then Maya turned, gathered up her massive wedding dress, and walked back down the aisle alone, head high, tears streaming down her face, leaving behind 200 stunned witnesses and 2 people whose lives she'd just destroyed. But this was only the beginning. As Maya pushed through the venue doors into the bright afternoon sunlight, still in her wedding dress, makeup running, bouquet abandoned, she felt something she hadn't expected. Power. They'd taken her love, her trust, her future. They'd betrayed her in the deepest way possible. Now she was going to take everything from them. Welcome to Heartfire Obsession. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The Blueprint for Destruction. 3 days of silence. Maya didn't answer her phone for 3 days. 72 hours of messages piling up, hundreds of them. Texts from her mother begging her to come home. Voicemails from Vanessa sobbing apologies. Emails from Marcus that alternated between desperate pleas and accusations that Maya had overreacted and publicly humiliated him. That last part almost made her laugh. He felt humiliated. She sat in the penthouse apartment she'd rented with cash under a fake name, still wearing the hotel robe she'd changed into after finally peeling off her wedding dress. The dress now hung in the closet like a ghost, a $8,000 reminder of the life she'd almost had. Her laptop was open on the glass coffee table, surrounded by energy drink cans and half-eaten takeout containers. She'd barely slept. Didn't need to. Rage was a better stimulant than any amount of caffeine. On the screen, spreadsheets, documents, photographs, recordings. Everything she'd gathered in 72 hours of obsessive research. Everything she'd need to systematically destroy Marcus Thorne and Vanessa Rodriguez. Because Maya hadn't been exaggerating at the altar. She was going to ruin them. Both of them. Completely. But it had to be done right. Strategic. Devastating. Permanent. The assets they thought were safe. Maya pulled up the first spreadsheet. Marcus's business. Thorne Consulting was Marcus's pride and joy, a financial advisory firm he'd built over the last 6 years. He'd started it from nothing, and now it was worth approximately $2.3 million, with 12 employees and over 50 high-net-worth clients. What Marcus didn't know, what he'd somehow forgotten in his arrogance, was that Maya had been there from the beginning. She'd used her savings to help fund the initial startup costs. She'd designed the website. She'd handled the bookkeeping for the first 2 years before they could afford to hire someone. She'd networked at every event, bringing in 3 of his biggest clients through her own connections. More importantly, she'd done all of this before they were engaged. Before she'd been stupid enough to think their relationship was a partnership. Which meant she had a legal claim to the business. Maya opened the file her lawyer had sent over this morning. She'd hired Patricia Chen, the best divorce attorney in the state, even though they weren't married. Patricia had taken one look at the documentation Maya had preserved and smiled like a shark smelling blood. "You have more leverage than you realize," Patricia had said during their video call. "He's going to fight you, of course. But the evidence of your contributions, combined with the timeline of the affair? We can bury him." But Maya didn't just want money. Money was easy. Money was boring. She wanted something better. The client files he should have protected better. Marcus had made a critical mistake early in their relationship. He'd given Maya access to his business cloud storage. For emergencies, he'd said, kissing her forehead, "In case something happens to me, you'll know where everything is." How thoughtful. How trusting. How stupid. Maya still had that access. Marcus had never revoked it, probably because he'd genuinely forgotten, or because he never imagined she'd use it against him. She scrolled through the files now, taking her time, analyzing each client account. Marcus's firm specialized in discreet financial planning for wealthy clients who wanted to minimize their tax burdens. Legal, mostly. But several of his strategies operated in gray areas that required careful documentation and absolute confidentiality. Maya copied everything onto an encrypted drive. Client lists. Investment strategies. The various tax shelters Marcus employed. The offshore accounts. The carefully structured LLCs designed to obscure asset ownership. Nothing illegal, technically, but definitely things his clients wouldn't want made public. Things that would destroy trust instantly. Things that, if leaked to the right journalists or regulatory bodies, would trigger investigations, audits, and panic. She wasn't going to leak them. Not yet. But Marcus didn't need to know that. The sister who always won. Maya's phone buzzed for the 100th time. She glanced at it without answering. Vanessa, please talk to me. I know I don't deserve it, but please. I'm your sister. Sister. The word felt hollow now. Meaningless. Maya pulled up a different file on her laptop. This one was about Vanessa. Vanessa the beautiful. Vanessa the charming. Vanessa who'd always gotten everything she wanted, from the lead in school plays to the attention of every boy to their parents' preferential treatment disguised as, Vanessa needs more support. Well, Vanessa had definitely secured support now. She was pregnant, unemployed, she'd quit her marketing job 2 months ago, claiming she wanted to focus on motherhood, and entirely dependent on Marcus for financial stability. How convenient for Maya. She opened an email from a private investigator she'd hired yesterday. His name was David Reeves, former FBI, now freelance. Expensive. Discreet. Utterly without moral qualms about who he worked for or why. His report on Marcus and Vanessa's affair was thorough. Hotel receipts. Restaurant charges on Marcus's credit cards, the ones he thought Maya didn't monitor. Security footage from the apartment building where they'd met for their trysts. But the most interesting item was at the bottom of the report. Subject, Marcus Thorne, additional finding. During surveillance of MT, observed subject entering apartment of unknown female, address 2847 Riverside Drive, Unit 12B, on 2 separate occasions, October 23 and November 15. Duration of visits, 3.5 hours and 2 hours respectively. Subject displayed intimate body language. Identity of female, pending further investigation. Advise if you want this pursued. Maya sat back, processing this information. Marcus hadn't just been cheating with Vanessa. He'd been cheating on both of them. A smile spread across Maya's face slowly, coldly. This changed everything. This was leverage she hadn't expected. This was ammunition that would destroy any sympathy Marcus might receive, any attempt to frame himself as a man who'd fallen in love and made a mistake. This proved he was just a serial cheater. A liar. A man who couldn't be trusted with anything or anyone. Pursue it, Maya typed back to David. I want everything on her. Photos, identity, timeline. Spare no expense. The plan takes shape. Maya opened a fresh document and began typing. Not notes anymore. A plan. A blueprint for destruction broken down into phases. Phase 1, isolation. Separate Marcus and Vanessa. Turn them against each other. Reveal Marcus's other affair to Vanessa in a way that destroys their alliance. A divided enemy is a weak enemy. Phase 2, financial ruin. Attack Marcus's business from multiple angles. Lawsuit for her stake in the company. Threaten exposure of client files to trigger panic and withdrawals. Leak strategic information to his competitors. Bleed him dry. Phase 3, social destruction. Ensure everyone in their social circles knows exactly what happened. Not through gossip, but through documented evidence. Videos, screenshots, testimony from witnesses. Make them social pariahs. Phase 4, Legal devastation. Pursue every possible legal avenue. Breach of contract. Fraud. Marcus had used their shared credit cards for affair expenses. Sue for the money she'd put into his business. Make him spend every dollar he had on lawyers. Phase 5, the end game. Destroy whatever they loved most. For Marcus, that was his reputation and his business. For Vanessa, it was the idea of herself as the good person who everyone loved. Strip those away. Leave them with nothing but each other and the ruins of their choices. It would take months. Maybe longer. But Maya had time. She had money, more than they realized, because she'd been quietly building her own investments separate from Marcus for years. She had motivation. And now, she had purpose. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was her mother. "Mom, Maya, please. We need to talk about this. Vanessa is devastated. She's not eating. She's putting the baby at risk. Whatever happened, we can work through it as a family." Maya stared at the message, feeling something cold settle in her chest. Her mother was worried about Vanessa. About Vanessa's baby. About Vanessa's health. Not once in 3 days had her mother asked if Maya was okay. If she was safe. If she needed anything. It was always about Vanessa. It had always been about Vanessa. Maya typed back slowly, "Vanessa is pregnant with my ex-fiancé's child after a 6-month affair behind my back. She's devastated. She should be. And Mom, if you keep choosing her over me, you're going to lose me forever. Think about that before you send another message." She hit send and blocked her mother's number. The first strike. That night, Maya met with Patricia Chen in person at a discreet restaurant downtown. Patricia was 50-something, razor-sharp in a gray suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, with silver hair and eyes that missed nothing. "I've drafted everything," Patricia said, sliding a folder across the table. "Lawsuit against Marcus for your stake in Thorne Consulting. Based on your documented contributions and the timeline, I'm confident we can claim at least 35% ownership. With the affair evidence, possibly more, we can argue that his personal misconduct violated the implicit partnership agreement between you. How long until he knows?" "He'll be served tomorrow morning. At his office. In front of his employees." Patricia smiled slightly. "You wanted maximum impact, correct?" "Correct. There's something else," Patricia continued. "I did some digging into Marcus's business filings. He's been classifying certain personal expenses as business expenses. Not a lot, but enough that it could trigger an IRS audit if someone filed a report. I'm not suggesting you do anything illegal, of course. I'm simply observing that the information exists." Maya held Patricia's gaze. "Of course. Simply observing." Additionally, Patricia pulled out another document. "I've prepared a comprehensive affidavit detailing the affair, including dates, locations, and evidence. This can be submitted in the lawsuit, which means it becomes public record. Every detail of what Marcus and Vanessa did will be available to anyone who wants to look, including journalists, his clients, and potential future romantic partners who decide to Google him." "Perfect. And regarding your sister," Patricia's expression turned clinical, "she has no income, no savings that I could find, and will be entirely dependent on Marcus for financial support. If Marcus is financially ruined, she's ruined by extension. Do you have any moral qualms about that outcome, given her pregnancy? Maya thought about that message from Vanessa. Maya? Please. She's so in love with you she can't see straight. She's the easiest person in the world to lie to. None whatsoever, Maya said clearly. Patricia nodded approvingly. Excellent. Then we proceed. We proceed. They shook hands across the table, sealing the beginning of Marcus Thorne's destruction. The response she expected. The next day, Maya waited until noon before checking her phone. Sure enough, there were 17 missed calls from Marcus and 6 voicemails, each more desperate than the last. She listened to them in order, taking notes. Voicemail 1, Maya, what the hell? I just got served with a lawsuit. At my office. In front of everyone. You can't be serious about this. Call me back immediately. Voicemail 3, this is insane. You helped with the business, I'm not denying that, but 35%? You're delusional. My lawyers are going to destroy this case. Voicemail 5, Maya, please. I know you're hurt. I know I screwed up. But this isn't the answer. You're going to regret this when you calm down. Just, let's talk like adults. Voicemail 6, fine. You want to play it this way? I'll fight you. And I'll win. You have no idea what you're up against. Maya deleted all of them without responding. Her phone rang again immediately. This time, she answered. Maya, Marcus's voice was ragged, frantic. Maya, thank God. Listen to me. You have 3 minutes, Maya said calmly. Talk. This lawsuit is insane. You know it is. Yes, you helped in the beginning, but that doesn't give you ownership. I built this company. Me. And trying to claim otherwise is just vindictive. Is there a point coming? The point is we can settle this. Drop the suit, and I'll give you money. A fair amount. More than fair. We can walk away from each other clean. How much? 200,000. Cash. Final offer. Maya laughed. She couldn't help it. Marcus, your company is worth $2.3 million. You're offering me less than 10% of what my claim is worth, and you think I'll take it? You have no proof you're entitled to more. I have emails. Contracts. Bank statements showing my initial investments. Testimony from your original clients that I brought in. And I have evidence that you were conducting an affair during our partnership, which demonstrates a pattern of dishonesty that undermines your credibility as a business owner. My lawyer is very confident. Silence. Then, what do you want? I want you to lose everything, Maya said simply. Your business. Your reputation. Your future. I want Vanessa to realize she destroyed her life for a man who isn't worth it. And I want everyone who ever pitied me or thought I was weak to understand that I am the last person they should have underestimated. Maya. Oh, and Marcus? Maya's voice turned to ice. David Reeves sends his regards. He's the private investigator who's been following you. He found something very interesting. A woman at 2847 Riverside Drive, Unit 12B. Brunette, late 20s, works in real estate apparently. You've been visiting her too. While you were sleeping with my sister. While you were planning to marry me. The silence on the other end was absolute. Vanessa doesn't know yet, Maya continued conversationally. I thought I'd tell her myself. In person. Tonight, actually. I'm sure she'll be very interested to learn that she wasn't special. That she was just one of multiple women you were betraying me with. I wonder how that will affect her feelings toward you. Her willingness to support you through this legal battle? Her certainty that you two are soulmates who just couldn't help falling in love? Maya, don't. Please. That's not, it was just. Just what? Just a fling? Just sex? Just another betrayal in a long line of betrayals? Save it, Marcus. I don't care about your excuses anymore. I care about watching you burn. She hung up. Her hands were shaking, but not from fear or sadness. From excitement. This was better than she'd hoped. Marcus was panicking. His carefully constructed world was fracturing. And she'd barely begun. Maya pulled up David's latest report, reading the details about Marcus's other affair. The woman's name was Cassidy Trent. 28 years old. Divorced. Successful real estate agent. And according to David's notes, completely unaware that Marcus was engaged to someone else. He'd told her he was single. Maya drafted an email to Cassidy, attaching select photos and text messages documenting Marcus's affair with Vanessa, along with an invitation to coffee and information you deserve to know about the man you're dating. She hit send before she could second-guess herself. Then she texted Vanessa, we need to talk. Come to 2424 Meridian Street, apartment 8C. Tonight at 7 p.m. Come alone. It was time for phase 1 to begin in earnest. Time to watch her sister's world crumble the way hers had. The confrontation. Vanessa arrived at 6:58 p.m., probably because she'd been too anxious to wait any longer. Maya watched through the security camera as her sister paced in the hallway, wringing her hands, her baby bump just barely visible under her loose sweater. Maya waited until exactly 7 p.m. before opening the door. Vanessa looked terrible. Dark circles under her eyes, skin pale, hair unwashed and pulled into a messy bun. She'd clearly been crying recently. Good. Maya, Vanessa breathed, stepping forward as if to hug her. Maya held up a hand, stopping her. Don't. Vanessa flinched like she'd been slapped. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you don't want to hear it, but I need to say it. What I did was unforgivable. What we did. I betrayed you in the worst possible way and I... Stop, Maya said flatly. I didn't invite you here for apologies. She stepped aside, letting Vanessa enter the apartment. It was sterile, impersonal, a rental with generic furniture and no photographs. Nothing that revealed who lived here or what they cared about. Vanessa perched nervously on the edge of the couch. Then why am I here? Maya sat across from her, crossing her legs, studying her sister the way she might study an interesting insect. I wanted to ask you something. Were you in love with him? Marcus. Was it love, or was it just convenient? Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. It was love. It's love. I know you don't believe that. I know it sounds like an excuse. But Maya, I tried to fight it. 4 months, I tried. But we couldn't stay away from each other. How romantic, Maya said dryly. Tell me, did he use the same lines on you that he used on me? Did he tell you you were the most amazing woman he'd ever met? That he'd never felt this way before? That you understood him in a way no one else did? Vanessa shifted uncomfortably. Yes, but... And did he tell you I wasn't enough for him? That our relationship had problems? That he'd been thinking about leaving me anyway? He said things weren't working between you two. That you'd grown apart. Maya laughed bitterly. We were engaged, Vanessa. We were planning a wedding. We had sex 3 times a week. We talked about buying a house and having children. We weren't growing apart. He was a liar who wanted to have his cake and eat it too. I know, Vanessa whispered. I know that now. Do you? Maya leaned forward. Because I'm not sure you do. I'm not sure you understand what you did or who you did it with. She pulled out her phone and opened a photo. Then she handed it to Vanessa. Vanessa stared at the screen. Her face went from pale to gray. The photo showed Marcus kissing a brunette woman Maya had never seen before, taken outside an apartment building. The timestamp was from 2 weeks ago. Who is that? Vanessa asked, her voice barely audible. Her name is Cassidy Trent. Marcus has been seeing her for at least 2 months, maybe longer. He told her he was single. Maya pulled the phone back, swiped to another photo. This one foot S continue 15:34 from 3 weeks ago. Different outfit, same woman. That's her apartment building. He goes there every Thursday when he tells you he has late client meetings. Vanessa stood abruptly, swaying slightly. I'm going to be sick. Bathrooms down the hall. Maya waited, listening to the sounds of her sister retching. When Vanessa emerged 10 minutes later, her eyes were red and wet, her hands shaking. He told me I was the only one, Vanessa said. He said what happened between us was special. That it was worth the risk because we were meant to be together. He's a liar, Maya said simply. He lied to me. He lied to you. He's lying to Cassidy. That's what he does. He tells women whatever they need to hear to get what he wants, and he doesn't care who gets hurt. Vanessa sank back onto the couch, hugging herself. What am I supposed to do? I'm pregnant with his baby. I quit my job because he promised he'd take care of us. I destroyed everything for him. Yes, Maya agreed. You did. The cruelty of it hung in the air between them. Maya, please, Vanessa looked up at her with desperate eyes. I know I hurt you. I know I don't deserve your help. But I'm your sister. The baby is innocent in all this. If you have any mercy left. Mercy? Maya's voice turned cold. You want mercy from me? The sister you called easy to lie to? The sister whose fiancé you've been sleeping with for 6 months? The sister whose wedding you were going to stand up in, knowing you were carrying her fiancé's baby? Vanessa flinched with each accusation. I showed you that photo, Maya continued, because I wanted you to understand something. This isn't about love. Marcus doesn't love you. He doesn't love me. He doesn't love Cassidy. He loves himself and what we can do for him. And now you're tied to him forever because of that baby. You're going to raise his child, and every time you look at that kid, you're going to remember how you got here. Every time Marcus cheats again, and he will, you'll know you have no one to blame but yourself. Maya. Get out. Please. Get out of my apartment, Vanessa. And don't contact me again. You made your choice. Now live with it. Vanessa stood slowly, tears streaming down her face. She walked to the door, then turned back. I'm sorry. For everything. I hope someday you can forgive me. I won't, Maya said flatly. But I will enjoy watching karma destroy you both. That's the best I can offer. After Vanessa left, Maya sat in the silence of the apartment, feeling oddly empty. She'd expected satisfaction, vindication. Instead, she just felt hollow. Her phone buzzed. A text from David. Cassidy Trent agreed to meet you tomorrow, 2 p.m., Coffee Society downtown. She seems interested in your information. Maya smiled slowly. Phase 1 was nearly complete. Marcus and Vanessa's alliance was shattered. Now it was time to tighten the noose. But as she sat there in the sterile apartment, surrounded by evidence of betrayal and plans for revenge, Maya wondered for the first time if destroying them would actually heal anything inside her. Or if she was just destroying herself in the process. To be continued. The price of revenge. The woman who didn't know. Cassidy Trent was beautiful in a way that made Maya understand why Marcus had pursued her. Not model beautiful like Vanessa, but striking, intelligent eyes, confident posture, the kind of woman who looked like she had her life together. She arrived at Coffee Society exactly on time, scanning the room until her eyes landed on Maya sitting in the back corner booth. Recognition flickered across her face, probably from the headshot Maya had included in her email. Maya? Cassidy approached cautiously, carrying a leather purse that probably cost more than Maya's laptop. Thank you for coming, Maya gestured to the seat across from her. I know my email was unexpected. That's one word for it, Cassidy sat, studying Maya carefully. You said you had information about Marcus. About him lying to me. No small talk. Maya appreciated that. She slid a folder across the table. Marcus Thorne and I were engaged, Maya began. The wedding was supposed to happen 8 days ago. It didn't, because I discovered hours before the ceremony that he'd been having an affair with my sister for 6 months. She's pregnant with his child. Cassidy's hand froze halfway to the folder. Pregnant? 4 months along. The baby is his, confirmed by the timeline and their own text messages, which are in that folder along with photos, hotel receipts, and other documentation. Cassidy opened the folder. Maya watched her face as she flipped through the pages, watched the color drain from her skin, watched her jaw tighten. When I hired a private investigator to document the affair, Maya continued, he discovered Marcus was also seeing you. Marcus told you he was single, correct? Yes, Cassidy's voice was barely a whisper. He said he'd been divorced for 2 years. That he was ready for something real. He was engaged to me. Planning a $150,000 wedding. Sleeping with my sister. And apparently visiting you every Thursday under the guise of late client meetings. Cassidy closed the folder carefully, her hands trembling slightly. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know who you're sleeping with, Maya said simply. And because I want you to understand that Marcus Thorne is a pathological liar who uses women and discards them when it's convenient. I was convenient for 4 years. My sister was convenient for 6 months. You're convenient now. But none of us are special to him. This is. Cassidy pressed her fingers to her temples. Jesus. I'm an idiot. You're not. He's a good liar. He fooled me for 4 years. He fooled my entire family. He's probably fooled most people he's ever met. Cassidy looked up at Maya, and something sharp glinted in her eyes. What are you going to do to him? I'm suing him for my stake in his business. I'm pursuing every legal avenue to hold him accountable. And I'm making sure everyone in our social and professional circles knows exactly what he did. That folder you gave me, Cassidy tapped it thoughtfully. This is evidence of the affair with your sister. Not me. Correct. So you could have just sent me a warning email. Told me to stay away from him. But you wanted to meet in person. Why? Maya respected Cassidy's intelligence. It was a fair question. Because I wanted to see if you were like me, Maya said honestly. Naive and trusting. Or if you were the kind of person who'd fight back. And? You're here. That suggests you're the second kind. A slow smile spread across Cassidy's face, and it wasn't entirely pleasant. You want me to help you destroy him. I want you to be informed. What you do with that information is your choice. Cassidy leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. I've been seeing Marcus for 3 months. He pursued me aggressively, flowers, expensive dinners, trips to Napa Valley. He said I was different from other women he'd dated. That I challenged him intellectually. He said the same things to me, Maya confirmed. Last week he asked me to invest in his company. Said he was expanding and looking for the right partners. People who understood finance and business. Maya's attention sharpened. How much? 100,000. I almost said yes. Don't. Oh, I won't. Cassidy's expression turned cold. Not now. But he doesn't know that yet. He thinks I'm still considering it. The implications hung in the air between them. If you wanted to, Maya said carefully, you could string him along. Make him think you're still interested in both him and the investment. Get information about his business practices, his clients, his financial vulnerabilities. Information that could be useful. That would be deceptive, Cassidy observed. Yes. And potentially harmful to his business. Yes. Good, Cassidy pulled the folder toward her. Can I keep this? It's yours. They exchanged phone numbers before parting, 2 women who'd been betrayed by the same man, now allies in a way Marcus would never see coming. As Maya walked back to her car, she felt that hollow feeling again. She was building an army to destroy one man. Was this who she'd become? Someone who manipulated and plotted and turned pain into weaponized strategy? But then she thought about Marcus's face when he'd looked at her at the altar, swearing vows he'd never meant. She thought about Vanessa winking at her before the ceremony. She thought about the message, she's the easiest person in the world to lie to. No. She wasn't going to feel guilty for fighting back. The lawsuit moves forward. 3 weeks after serving Marcus with the lawsuit, Maya sat in Patricia Chen's office reviewing depositions. His lawyers are claiming your contributions were minimal, Patricia explained, tapping her pen against a legal pad. That you were simply a supportive girlfriend, not a business partner. Do we have enough to counter that? More than enough. I've subpoenaed his email records, which show you handling client communications for the first 18 months. I've got testimony from 2 of his original clients confirming you facilitated those relationships. And the bank records clearly show your initial investment of $35,000. What about the affair? His lawyers are trying to claim it's irrelevant to the business dispute. They're partially right. Adultery doesn't directly impact corporate ownership. But it goes to character and credibility, which matters when the case hinges on verbal agreements and implied partnerships. Patricia slid another document across the desk. There's something else. I got a call from Marcus's lawyer this morning. They want to settle. Maya's pulse quickened. For how much? $750,000. Plus a non-disclosure agreement requiring you never discuss the affair publicly. Maya considered this. It was more money than she'd expected. Enough to walk away, rebuild, start over somewhere new. But it wasn't about the money. It had never been about the money. Counteroffer, Maya said. $1.2 million. No NDA. And Marcus has to sign a public statement acknowledging my contributions to building Thorn Consulting. Patricia raised an eyebrow. He'll never agree to that. The public statement will damage his credibility with clients. Exactly. You want to push this to trial. I want him to understand he can't buy his way out of consequences. Patricia nodded slowly. Okay. But I need to make sure you understand what a trial means. Months of legal proceedings. High costs. Your private life exposed in court documents. The media will cover it. Jilted fiancé sues cheating ex is exactly the kind of story they love. Are you prepared for that? Yes, Maya said without hesitation. What she didn't say was that she'd been preparing for exactly that. She'd already started leaking select details to a journalist friend who worked for a regional business publication. Nothing too dramatic, just enough to pique interest. Financial advisor's personal scandal leads to messy business dispute. That had been the headline 2 days ago. Marcus's phone had probably been ringing off the hook with clients asking questions. The family that chose wrong. Maya's father called on a Wednesday evening. She almost didn't answer, but curiosity won out. Dad. Maya, sweetheart, I need you to listen to me. His voice was strained, tired. Your mother is in the hospital. Maya's stomach dropped. What? Why? Stress-induced chest pains. The doctor said it's not a heart attack, but it could have been. She's been falling apart since the wedding. Since everything that happened. What do you want me to do about it? The words came out harsher than Maya intended, but she didn't take them back. I want you to come see her. I want this family to heal. Heal? Maya laughed bitterly. Dad, Vanessa fucked my fiancé for 6 months and got pregnant with his baby. Mom has spent 3 weeks calling me, begging me to forgive her, to think about the family, to remember that Vanessa is struggling too. Not once has anyone in this family asked if I'm okay. Not once has anyone apologized for enabling her behavior my entire life. And now you want me to come play happy family at the hospital? Your sister made a terrible mistake. It wasn't a mistake. Maya's voice rose. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. A mistake is being late to dinner. 6 months of calculated betrayal is not a mistake. It's a choice. She chose to do this. Marcus chose to do this. And you and Mom chose to prioritize her feelings over mine, just like you've done our entire lives. Silence. Then, quietly, that's not fair. Isn't it? When Vanessa and I both applied to the same college, who did you help with applications? When we both needed cars, who got the nicer one? When we both had problems, who did you listen to first? It was always Vanessa. Always. And I accepted it because I told myself it didn't matter, that I was the mature one, the reasonable one. But it did matter, Dad. It still matters. Maya, your mother might have had a heart attack because of this stress. Then maybe she should have considered the stress she was putting on me when she asked me to forgive Vanessa before Vanessa even apologized properly. Maybe she should have considered my health when she told me I was overreacting by canceling the wedding. Her father's voice cracked. Please. Come see her. Just once. If not for her sake, then for mine. Maya felt her resolve waver. She'd always been close to her father, or thought she had been. He'd taught her to ride a bike. He'd helped her with math homework. He'd walked her down the aisle toward a man who was betraying her. I'll think about it, Maya said finally. But I'm not making any promises. And Dad? If I come, and Vanessa is there, I'm leaving. I mean it. Understood. She hung up and sat in the silence of her apartment, feeling tears she'd been holding back for weeks finally break through. This was supposed to feel good. Watching them all suffer the consequences. Watching her family fracture. Watching Marcus panic. But it didn't feel good. It felt like standing in the ruins of her entire life, surrounded by rubble she'd helped create, wondering what she'd actually won. The turning point. Maya visited her mother 2 days later, against her better judgment. The hospital room was private, expensive, exactly what her parents could afford. Her mother looked small in the bed, for in her arm, monitors beeping steadily. Her father stood when Maya entered. Thank you for coming. Where's Vanessa? I told her not to come. Like you asked. Maya nodded and approached the bed. Her mother's eyes opened, focusing slowly. Maya, she whispered. Baby. Hi, Mom. Her mother reached for her hand. Maya let her take it, but didn't squeeze back. I'm so sorry, her mother said. For everything. For how I handled things. For not protecting you the way I should have. Okay. I know, okay, isn't forgiveness. I know I don't deserve forgiveness yet. But I need you to know that I see it now. How we favored Vanessa. How we made excuses for her. How we hurt you in the process. Maya felt her throat tighten. Why? Why did you always choose her? Her mother's eyes filled with tears. She needed more. She was always struggling, with school, with confidence, with life. You were so capable, so strong. We thought you could handle less attention because you were doing fine without it. I wasn't fine. I was lonely. I was always second. I know. I'm so sorry. They sat in silence for a moment, monitors beeping, the weight of years pressing down on both of them. What Vanessa did was unforgivable, her mother continued. I'm not asking you to forgive her. I'm not asking you to have a relationship with her. I'm just asking you to consider whether destroying her completely is worth what it's doing to you. Maya pulled her hand back. What it's doing to me? Maya, you look exhausted. You've lost weight. Your father says you're spending all your time on this lawsuit, on revenge. That's not healing. That's just different pain. I'm holding them accountable. You're letting them consume you, her mother said gently. And I understand why. God knows I understand. But baby, at some point you have to decide whether winning is worth what you're losing in the process. Maya stood abruptly. I should go. Maya. I'm glad you're okay, Mom. I am. But don't mistake me visiting for forgiveness. Don't mistake this for me backing down. Marcus and Vanessa destroyed my life. I'm just returning the favor. She left before her mother could respond, before the tears could come, before she could admit that her mother might be right. The investigation's dark turn. David Reeves called Maya that night with news that changed everything. I found something, he said without preamble. About Marcus's business. And Maya, this is bigger than an affair. This is criminal. Maya's heart raced. What did you find? I've been monitoring his communications like you asked. He's been moving money. Lots of it. From client accounts to offshore accounts that aren't listed in any of his official business documents. That's embezzlement. That's prison time, David confirmed. I've got timestamps, transfers, everything. He's been doing it for at least 18 months, maybe longer. Small amounts from each client so they wouldn't notice, but it adds up to almost $300,000. Maya sat down heavily. This was beyond anything she'd imagined. This wasn't just betrayal, it was fraud. This would destroy Marcus's career permanently. This would put him in jail. Do you want me to turn this over to the authorities? David asked. I legally can't hold on to evidence of a crime indefinitely. Maya's mind raced. If she turned Marcus in, he'd go to prison. His business would collapse. Vanessa would be left alone, pregnant, with no financial support. Her sister's baby would grow up with a father in prison. Her family would blame her. They'd say she went too far. They'd say she was vindictive, cruel, heartless. But Marcus had stolen from his clients. He'd violated their trust, stolen their money. People who'd relied on him, who'd believed in him. I need 24 hours, Maya said. Don't file anything yet. Just give me 24 hours to think. Okay. But Maya? Time matters here. If he realizes what I've found, he could destroy evidence. He could run. I understand. 24 hours. She hung up and stared at her laptop, at all the documents and plans she'd accumulated, at the blueprint for Marcus's destruction she'd been executing so carefully. This wasn't part of the plan. This was bigger. This was real consequences. This was turning him over to law enforcement, not just winning a lawsuit or damaging his reputation. This was the difference between revenge and justice. And Maya had to decide which one she actually wanted. The conversation that changed everything. Maya called Cassidy Trent at midnight, knowing it was inappropriate, knowing she was probably asleep. Cassidy answered on the third ring. Maya? What's wrong? I need advice. And you're the only person I can ask who isn't emotionally invested in my family drama. Okay. I'm listening. Maya explained what David had found, the embezzlement, the offshore accounts, the evidence of criminal fraud. If you turn him in, Cassidy said slowly, he goes to prison. 4 years, probably. Yes. And your sister, who's pregnant with his baby, ends up destitute and alone. Yes. But if you don't turn him in, he continues stealing from clients. He gets away with it. And you become complicit by knowing and not reporting. That's the problem. Cassidy was quiet for a long moment. Maya, can I ask you something? Sure. What did you want when you started all this? Before you found out about the embezzlement? What was your endgame? Maya thought about that. I wanted him to hurt the way he hurt me. I wanted them both to regret what they did. I wanted justice. Justice or revenge? What's the difference? Justice is proportional, Cassidy said. Revenge is emotional. Justice restores balance. Revenge just cycles pain. The question is,